My biggest problem with the winter, besides from the lack of snowfall and, actual winter, was the extremeness of how everything played out. Pretty much, there were only 4 days with sub-freezing highs, but most of those days were totally frigid. Now, I actually avoided 2 of them. What happened was that in both cases, there was a cold front coming down on a Friday and a general warming pattern, so that by the next Friday, it'll be very warm in the 60s. The only difference was how they were applied, and they varied. But there was pretty much no moderation. It was either deathly frigid or not that cold, with few exceptions. On December 23rd, the temperature went from 58 to 8. So it had to go, obviously, from mild to frigid. Yet, it was windy or rainy, and when it was windy, it made everything feel colder than it was. Air temp 35, wind chill 23. Air temp 33, wind chill 20. That kind of stuff. So, when the air temp was still holding at 21, the wind chill was in fact 3 degrees. That was later on in the night, but temperatures crashed to 8 by midnight. They would then bottom out at 7 the next morning with a negative 11 wind chill, warm up only to 15, and this is the day I was going to the airport to fly down to Florida. Don't think I escaped the cold, though. Do not think that for a single second, because Christmas had a high of 28 and a low of 14 back home in New York City, and where I was, the high temperature only reached 49. That's pretty bad for southern Florida. The fact I thought they're not bringing a third layer was a mistake just really signifies how cold it was down south in Florida, too. Monday, Boxing Day, had a high of 29 and a low of 18 in New York City. And by the 27th, when it finally got back up to 70 in Florida, here there was a high of 35 and a low of like 22. And then the warmth built from there. January had a few days with highs in the 30s, but nothing sub-freezing. February did have another Arctic front come down on the 3rd, where temperatures plummeted from 35 to 11 as a Arctic front came through, although this time with no precipitation. During this instance, it was already cold in the morning, whereas by the morning commuter is still holding at 54 on December 23rd. On February 3rd, it was already down to 27 with a wind chill of 15. When on Christmas, on the day before Christmas Eve, we were still holding steady in the 30s with a wind chill in the 20s. It was already 22, wind chill 6 on February 3rd. By dinner time, the wind chill had already descended into the negatives as the air temp hit 18. Temperatures did have only plummet down to 11 by midnight, but would further fall to 3 a.m., to 3 degrees at about 4 a.m., 5 a.m. And, well, after that, what happened was temperatures began to warm throughout the day, such that it was in fact 27 by midnight, and then the cold had left us. That was a big problem, and a consistent problem too throughout the winter. Were there some moderately cold days? Yes, December 27th was one of them that I told you about. Another moderately cold day was the 25th of February, when the high was 33 and the low was 23. And those weren't the only examples. There were a lot of days when the low penetrated down, lower than a couple degrees Fahrenheit below freezing. So into the mid-20s and lower, as the highs really struggled to get out of the 30s. February opened up with a high of 38 and a low of 26 and snow. And, you know, that was a consistent thing throughout this winter. So I don't want to totally say that there was a lack of cold temperatures. There was just too much warmth being pumped in, and it never truly felt like winter. But those snaps are the reason why I say we had a winter at all, because when winter did come down, in most cases, it came down really hard at once. Essentially, it's like all the cold coming in one shot. Huh.